A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there to my channel, the Twin Flame Union. The title of this particular audio is, why does the age gap exist between the divine masculine and divine feminine? Now, a lot of you actually have this going on with you guys. And some of you even find it very astonishing because you never really planned your life like that. You never really thought that, I would be in a relationship with a person who's younger to me. And younger to me by 10 years or 15 years in some cases, or 5 years or 6 years, 4 years, etc., etc. So today I'm going to talk about what are the reasons behind it in most cases. Now, of course, you guys can check the description box where I have mentioned information on readings, on counseling sessions, because I also give long counseling sessions like on a monthly basis. You can take 1 month of counseling session if you feel after therapy you need more holding up, or you can get into therapy. But these are all personal sessions, and personal sessions are different from public channelings, public messages, public videos and audios. The public channelings I make so that I can help as many people as I can who cannot afford to get into therapy right now or maybe later on. It's not necessary everyone has to get into therapy. But if you feel that you have had a very traumatic childhood or very abusive childhood, and the abuse and the trauma was so deep that you don't think that you can do it single-handedly, you need a coach for it, then you are most welcome to connect with me. Now, you can either, check the description box, or you can write to me at thesunamoon@gmail.com. So why is this age gap happening? And I've also noticed that not only the age gap happens between the DM and the DF, but in their family also, there is always some talk about age gap. Either there was age gap in their grandparents, or there was age gap in the father or mother, or it was age gap between some very close aunt or uncle, and it always sort of astonishes them that how they did it or how they pulled through this. First of all, this relationship, the twin flame connection, is about polarity. So when one person gets into mostly serious relationships throughout their life, the other person gets into a lot of flings. It's always the feminine energies, mostly. Whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, because the feminine energy can be in anyone, okay? This much we all understand. So it can be a man who has the feminine template. He is a proper man. It's not like he's gay or he's, or homosexual, or he talks in a womanly fashion. No. The femininity is an energy. That's why a lot of men can become good artists, good music producers, good singers. They can be good interior designers. It has a lot to do with the feelings and emotions part of it. And at the same time, there are some women who are very good with analysis and statistics and maths and logic and practicality, etc., etc. Specifically, I'm being shown that there are many couples who have this age gap thing going on. And the feminines had long relationships. Why? Because their lessons were completely opposite as compared to the masculines. And because the masculines are very logical, very practical, very smart or very mathematical, the analysis they can do, they are very good in understanding that what they are going to get from another person. In most cases, they are like, okay, I don't think I can date this person, or I don't think I can go out with this person. So what? I can just have a good time with this person. So they get into a one-night stand situation, or they get into a 6-month fling, or a 4-month fling, 5-month fling. And they keep doing many flings, but they also feel very bad that, they never have a serious relationship with anyone. And every fling ends into some kind of humiliation, embarrassment, some kind of insult. And, they are made to feel like, they're just there only just for a good time. The moment they start showing their emotions, their anger or their sorrow or something, weird they show, the other person wants to just be like, hey, you know what, don't get so serious about it. We are just having a good time. Now, don't ruin my mood or don't ruin my time. If you don't want to be like that, then please, feel free to go. As it is, there was nothing really serious in between us. So when this type of a person meets the divine feminine, it can be a man or a woman, doesn't matter, because I personally have met many such couples and I have worked on them, so I know some of them are working continuously. Like, it means that the breakup took place 2 years back and the feminine was completely heartbroken and completely rejected when the masculine decided to run away and choose another karmic already. Like, so the breakup happened like today, and after a month the masculine already has a karmic, and it was a very heartbreaking situation because the feminine did so much, like maybe getting a tattoo of the name of this person, or maybe moving out from his family house or her family house and shifting. So recently, I would say 2 years back, I met such a couple, and I knew instantly when I met them that they are getting into a twin flame situation. And I hung out with both of them, and both of them are very close to me. So I could very well easily see that the guy had the feminine energy because he was doing all of the things that feminine energies normally do. And he always had long relationships, like 3 years, 4 years. And the person, the masculine, was a girl, and she was always into flings, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, that's it. And it would be over. And she had a very big ego, like very, very big ego. Not that she was a bad person or something, but the ego was like right in your face. But the people she liked, like for example, if she liked me as a person, then she would do anything to, keep me there. But if she would see that I'm not interested, or I'm just not talking to her or running away, then she would not even call for like 5 months or 6 months, and not even behave like she ever knew me, because that's not her, that's the ego. Deep inside her heart, she would be craving for a call, or the moment I would call her or message her, she would be like talking for 6 hours also, if my time would permit. So there are many such examples where you see real life connections also, but these people are rare. Let me tell you, not everyone is like that. So the feminine energies, they do a lot for the masculines. And there is this age gap also, like the masculine is younger. Most cases I have seen the DMs are younger. It could be girl, it could be guy, it doesn't matter. And there is some sort of age gap thing going on. Now I'll tell you, in some families, even 2 years of age gap is a big deal. Like for example, if the girl is elder to the guy by 2 years or just 3 years, there is a huge hue and cry about it, like, oh, the girl is elder to the guy. So it really doesn't matter, how many years is it. It's just what type of notion do those people have, and what type of torture do they give to the feminines for that. Now feminines, if they're male, in our world, it is like in India, it is still acceptable. Okay, he can be 10 years elder or 12 or 15 also, like not every time, but it can be possible. But if it's more than that, then it can be an issue. But if it's a very good looking, very well maintained person, who doesn't look like, even if they're 50, they look like they're just in their early 20s or mid 20s, then it is still a different thing. But mentally, that age gap is always running. Why it's so important for this age gap thing to be there is because while one person is learning through fling, so the time that they spend on understanding the relationship patterns or the dynamics of the karmics of the false twin is so short-lived, but the impact is very deep, the pain is very deep. And while the feminines, because they're so emotional by nature, they spend more time on things, like they will forgive a person 6 times in 3 years or 4 years. 6 huge blunders they will forgive, because that's how their nature is. They're very sensitive, and they're like, they'll take everything on themselves. Slowly and gradually, they learn to become more logical, and by the time they meet the divine masculine, they are much more logical and practical than other people. But they have this habit of showing love, in a huge quantity, so they show it to the masculine also, and masculine, this particular DM becomes their final lesson. Now, after they go into the separation, again, there could be karmic connections. So the feminine will again spend more time in the karmic connections. Like, she won't go for one night stands. They don't do that. It's the feminine energy is designed in such a way, or it's made in such a way that one night stand sounds like a very big deal for them. And their body and their soul cannot even allow. So for them, that is basically replaced So if the masculine does a one night stand, he will learn by a one night stand, and he will be like, oh God, this was so bad. Because they have that habit of, like logical, practical mind. So they get into a one night stand, they'll learn the lesson. But the same lesson, if the feminine has to learn it, she will take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months fling. Even a fling is a big deal for them, because they are very emotional. So when they start getting irritated with a person, normally feminines always run away from karmics. So that this runner thing they play it with the karmics. They always want to like avoid the karmics. After a time they're like, oh God, what was I into? What did I do? But that understanding, they take a bit more time because of the emotional nature. And they learn. So this gap is there. Now I have seen a twin flame couple where the man who's a feminine by the way, is about 60 years old, white hair, white beard, and the masculine, who's a girl, is half his age, or maybe 25 years old. So there's a big gap, 60 and 25. But even if she is 25 and he's 60, that particular energy lesson they have learned. Like she started very young, say 15, at the age of 15, she got into her first one night stand, or she maybe had a first fling, which lasted for 6 months, and she became like, oh my God, this is something I'm not going to do. Then the next and the next. By the time she's 25, she's done with it. She now only wants a soul connection. She doesn't even want to have sex. She's become asexual. And this person, the feminine, maybe had a relationship which was 1 decade long. And in 1 decade, he learned the lesson that the other person learned in 6 months. That's why this gap is done. And because the divine masculines and feminines are sent via divine intervention, so before coming to planet Earth, they already know that the feminine is going to go 10 years or 12 years or 15 years before this person. So if say the feminine is 30 years old and the masculine is 20 years old, so it was already predestined that he would be born 10 years after her. So this is how it works. And then he would be born in a family where he would be getting certain amount of love, certain amount of lessons, and he would be very pampered in the family. So within the family, he would have no issues because the family is always there for him. The father and mother are always taking care of him, which he also finds very overbearing because he doesn't see this type of protectiveness, otherwise. Or he's given so much love that he's allowed to do whatever he wants. So when he goes out, it's very easy for him to find people. It's very easy for him or her to attract people because they have that type of self-confidence. They have been given that self-confidence in the family. They have been raised like that, where they are constantly told, oh, my son is so handsome. My son is so handsome. All the girls will, go crazy for him if he goes out. Or my daughter is so beautiful. Like, she's so pretty. Oh, she has this hair or this eyes or this. And I've seen it. Like I said, I've seen it. They are raised in such a way the ego is very, very high, very, very strong. So when they go to a club, they will probably hit on the most good-looking person and they will end up hooking up with them. But it's only when they hook up with that person, they feel that, what did I do? Like, maybe at a younger age, it's much easier for them to get over it. And they'll be like, yeah, it was good fun. I had a good time with this person. But I don't want to do it again. I asked this question once to a friend of mine who used to use Tinder a lot. And he is an actor, again, a good-looking guy, everything going good for him. So it was a time when I was in a hermit mode. So when he came and spoke to me, I could understand that he's looking for some kind of a sexual encounter or some kind of a relationship or a fling, which I was not really into. So I could see from a different perspective and I could really guide him. So one fine day when we were in a get together, he was just trying to sort of hit on me in an indirect way. And he told me about how one night stand is a much better thing. How these people give you logics. So I asked him that, how many people are you in touch with, those with whom you had a one night stand and a good one night stand? So he said, oh, I'm in touch with almost all of them. We are all friends. And I met her there and I met her there and I met her there. And then I asked him this very important question that, so why don't you meet them again? If it was so nice and if you're still friends with them and if you still talk to each other, why don't you plan a night out again or a one night stand situation again? And he didn't have any answer to that. He was like, well, of course, there's nothing to explore. I said, so you're basically cordial with them, or you're being formal with them because you think that's okay to be formal and cordial with them because they don't trigger you in any way. And he also was going through some long-term relationship that didn't work out. So it was, we people like you, me, all the healing energies, or all the twin flame people, at one point in time, after a stage in our life, we can see who's doing what. It's very easy. So I could see that he was with some girl who was very nice, who was very loving, amazingly pretty also. There's nothing wrong with that girl, but it was the love, it was the intensity that led him to cheat on her, and then she left him, and now he was in separation phase. I mean, even though they're not a twin flame couple, but people can have those very deep soulmate relationships. He was in a separation phase and he was trying to get into a relationship with someone, with someone very nice. But he knew that he cannot do that, because if he could, then he could have done it with her. So he was finding, like a girl where he could just hook up with. So all these applications like Tinder or Cupid or whatever they're very easy for some people because of the good looks or because of the way they talk and things like that. But they don't understand that it leaves a very deep scar in themselves, a wound, because if it was all so nice, then they could always keep going back to the same people, but they cannot. Neither those people want to come to them, neither they want to go to them. So they keep looking for fresh new opportunities, wherever we can do something, wherever I can do a hookup, or wherever I can flirt a bit and I can feel important about myself. So the idea is, this whole age gap thing was pre-planned, it was predestined. And also because in many places the social construct is such that they make age gap a very big issue. So the divine feminines and the divine masculines, they have to learn to understand that love is very abstract. Now, of course, you don't abuse people. So, this doesn't mean that you can go ahead with really young people. There has to be, at least they should be of a voting age. They should be all adults. Like, I think for me, I feel that 18, 19 is the age when someone can date someone elder to them. But if we look around in our society, there are very few people who actually love people based on their soul and not and normally they are going for the body and the looks. But in the twin flame relationship, this also acts as a big problem for them, because the divine feminines also think this again and again, that am I after this person's looks? Am I after this person's youth? What is it that I want from this person? And the other person also might think that, maybe she's a cougar, or maybe he's into young girls, things like that. And maybe he finds me attractive, but that is not the case. That is totally not the case. So they have to learn by separation. That's why separation is very important, because in separation, there is no physical contact. Forget about physical contact. There is no physical communication. There is no physical touch. There is nothing. And this is the time where both of them can understand that we still miss each other, and more so it is for the divine masculine, because it was the divine masculine who walked away, and he walked away thinking, because most people think that the divine masculines see the divine feminine not in a very good light, but that is not the case. That is absolutely opposite. The divine masculines think that the divine feminines are way above their league. That's why they walk away. And for those of you who don't want to understand this logic, please don't write long paragraphs of comments with negativity. Oh, he is like that. Oh, he is like that. That will really put you really back, really in the opposite direction of this journey. There's no point in bickering and blaming, and then still, in your heart, you're still missing them. So be practical, because you need to be practical. You need to understand that if I hate him so much, if I'm blaming him all the time, if he's such a bad person, then what am I doing here? Listening to the channelings, looking for the tarot card readings, wanting to heal myself and wanting to, why? This obviously because despite all the wrong things he did to me, and despite all the running away he did to me, he is still there in my heart, even after 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, he or she, whatever your case is. The same thing the masculines learn, that even though I walked out on this person, I chose not to contact this person, I chose not to talk to this person, I chose to ignore their messages, I chose to treat them in a way that's not acceptable, I'm still thinking about them, even though I thought that they don't want me. And one day, if not now, maybe after 6 months or 1 year, they will go for a person who's their age, who they find mature, who they find intelligent, who they find more attractive than me, because you know what, I'm younger to them. So they have many more options, they have many more people to choose from. Why will they choose me, who's immature, who's younger, who may not even be in some cases earning that well? They also have those issues. You think that you are seeing them in a certain way, but they are also seeing you in a certain way. And I know this from personal experience, because many times the divine feminines, because of the age gap, they make the masculines feel this, that you're younger to me, you don't know better, so just keep quiet, don't do this, don't say that, you're immature. Oh, how can you speak like this? You're younger to me, you don't have so much experience. So initially they are okay with this talk and they take it with a pinch of salt, or they just take it like a joke. But later on they start taking it too seriously. Now you don't understand this because you don't have the ego issues that they have. You have not been pampered the way they have been pampered, or you have not been in that many flings or one night stand situations, or just time pass situations that they have been into. They know that they have actually walked out from many people's life, and many people walked out on their life on them. So it's very easy for them to move on. They don't even block those people. Maybe they had a fling with someone, or they had a one night stand with someone, but they never blocked them. But they blocked you. Why they blocked you? Because you're the one who affects them the most. You're the one they are crazy about. You're the one they're crying for every night, when they realize that what they have lost. So that's why in some cases this age gap thing comes out as a very important tool, because it is also an amalgamation of generations. Like, even though you could be 10 years elder to them or 15 years elder to them, but you are basically born in a certain time frame which is connected to a certain part of the dark age that needs to be healed in your particular ancestry, and that can only be healed when you meet someone who has completely fresh ideas. And I'm not saying that 10 years is big, I'm not even saying 5 years is less, I'm just saying that it totally depends on what social construct you have. And that's why in the very beginning I said that in some houses even 2 years of age gap is seen like a big deal, like, oh, the girl is 2 years elder to the boy, oh my god. So imagine then you meet someone who's 12 years younger to you, and then you fall in love with them, and then you have this on and off dynamic, and you go crazy with what they do to you, and you keep saying they're so immature, narcissistic, immature people, and they keep saying, what does she think? She's elder to me, she knows much more, or he knows much more, whatever, these people always acting over mature. So immature versus over mature, or, too careless versus too careful, extra careful about everything, too organized, so disorganized. So these are the things that hit them very hard, because in their upbringing, these were the things that were told to them on and off, because everyone was so loving and everyone was so nice that they would keep making mistakes, be it education, be it relationships. So the family would say, you're so immature. And now the divine feminine comes and says the same thing. You're so immature, you're so stupid, so childish, you don't know anything. And they take it to their hearts. So you can write down in your comments, like, what is your situation, and how, despite the love, what was, apart from the age gap, what was the thing that triggered the age gap? It could be the status, it could be the money, it could be family construct, it could be long distance relationship, which added like fuel in the fire. But let me tell you, this is the same thing that will bring you back, because your divine masculine really actually finds it very attractive, very arousing that you are elder to them. And you also find it very arousing and attractive that they are younger to you. So I would tell you that let go, release, but don't give it up, and do your own thing. Don't think about them. Even energetically, don't think about them. The moment you think about them, put your mind to something else, and that something else is the present moment. Once you understand that you have to be in the present moment, all these things like age gap, social construct, status, money, blah, 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 long distance, cultural differences, they will all go. Or even marriage. Maybe, okay, I would like to add this example before I go. Now, I know a divine feminine and a divine masculine combination where the feminine is married, she has children, and the masculine is still unmarried, but the masculine chose to walk out on her. And despite being younger in the age, the feminine is more mature, the feminine is a mother, the feminine has more responsibility, while the masculine is just not even wanting to commit to anyone for all these years. When they meet, they get into a relationship, you know, and imagine there's an age gap, and then there is this huge gap of mindset that, you know, I'm more responsible, and despite being elder to me, you look at you. And this also happens that the divine masculine says this to the feminine during fights, that, you know, just act your age, just act your age. Look at you. You're just like, even if you're 35 or even if you're 40, you're not even acting your age. Just grow up, man. For how long are you going to be like this? So this is also a trigger point for a lot of divine masculines and for a lot of divine feminines. And I'll tell you, this whole thing about divine feminines not committing that easily is also true. Personally, I feel that the divine feminines take long time to commit, even if they have been in long-term relationships. And the only reason they met the masculine is because they were commitment phobic. But still, there is a contradiction that they were in long-term relationships. Why they were in long-term relationships? Because they take a long time to commit and decide. You know, whereas the masculine takes a second to commit, a second to choose a karmic, a second. So when both of them meet each other, they show their areas, these areas, by playing it in opposite ways. When they meet each other, they trigger these areas and they start acting like one another in many cases. So this is where I will end this audio session. I hope it's valuable for you. I hope you learn from it, and I hope it made you feel more relaxed and more relieved. One love and peace out.